What is up, guys? We are back to another video, and today we have another tip video for Iron Fist in Season 2.5. Now, this video is going to be focusing primarily on Season 2.5 specific things, and tips to help you adjust, less so on core abilities and core rotations. Reason why is I have guides in the past for that, and the goal of this video is, I am traveling tomorrow to Japan. I don't really have a lot of time right now, so I wanted to just get more tips out for you guys, and more things as the meta has developed over the past few days, because I've been playing it a lot more, and I understand a lot better now, like the meta and what to do and comps and priorities, and so I'm going to talk through that today. And just try to get, it's going to be a little bit unstructured, a little bit rough and dirty, but I just want to get it out, get some more tips to you guys, so you can help orient you and help guide your learning and your gameplay in this season, because I'm not going to be playing that much this season because I am leaving today. So I just want to get this video out there for you guys. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video. Now, one thing I want to mention first, guys, is this character is not good. I'm going to try my best in this video to equip you with what you need to make it work this season the best you can, but he's just not good at all, and you're really going to be working overtime to get value that other characters can get way easier. He's just terrible. He is terrible. Now, you can win with him. He's viable. His skill cap is higher, which to some people, they say this makes it feel better, and I can sympathize with that. I kind of agree. It feels nicer when the character has a higher skill cap. But they should have kept his damage or something else, because he's just not good at all. Despite having a higher skill cap, which in my opinion is a good thing. I do think he was a little bit too easy last season. I think he's a good spot right now for the skill cap, but his damage is miserable. Absolutely miserable. He's just not good at all. So first, we're going to start off with what I think is one of the most important things, which is your bans. And the reason why is the meta is very difficult for Iron Fist. This is the hardest meta Iron Fist has ever played into. Season 0 or Season 1, it was a hard Hella Hawkeye meta. But the problem is in those seasons, you could just ban Hella Hawkeye. You had much easier choices. With this season, there's a large range of things that are just too high value bans that you need to be efficient with who you ban and to really nail the most important ones. And I think the biggest ban that you really need to have, and it's also difficult because your team really wants to play him too, is going to be Ultron. The reason why is the flying meta is very difficult, assuming you're trying to push the ranks, okay? In low ranks is pretty easy because many times healers don't look up. They often forget. You could pick out healers pretty easily. Now, this doesn't mean you, by the way, I just want to say, this doesn't mean you can never play against a hard comp. I hit top 500 playing Iron Fist and almost never swapping based off their comp. You can play it, like last season I hit it playing into Luna Namor. You can hit it playing into difficult, and even this season I've won games against Triple Flyer. You can do it, it's just not favorable and may make your experience very negative. The reason why you want to ban Ultron is because he's the anchor to the other flyers. Generally, if there's an Ultron, there's either an Iron Man, a Storm, or a Human Torch, and Human Torch is still very strong. Iron Man, imagine like a 3-flyer comp. Like, you just want to avoid that. And Ultron generally serves as the anchor. And also his healing bot. So where is Ultron strong? He is strong against comps that have kind of slower pressure, like an Iron Fist. Iron Fist has one of the slowest damage outputs in the game, especially when flanking healers. On tanks, it's not that bad. But if you're flanking a healer and the enemy team has an Ultron, if he's a good Ultron that can see the dive, sometimes they're just not aware, and you'll dive a Luna, and you'll kill them before they even turn around. That'll happen still. But if the Ultron is good, and once he knows you're in the game, and you're going to be flanking their healers, and he puts the Ultron bot on his healers, it's going to be so difficult to land a pick, because as long as he has the bot on the healers, you will never land a pick. You will have no pressure. They can literally ignore you, because the bot will heal through all your damage. All of it. You will not kill a healer who isn't even being healed besides the bot. All focused on the front line. That one bot is now completely negating you. So Ultron is one of your highest value bans as an Iron Fist. Now, if your team is playing Ultron and you don't want to avoid them throwing or some kind of negative tension, you can ban Iron Man. If your team is playing Iron Man, it may be best to swap to healer, because chances are you're only going to end up having 2 healers. Ultron and a healer. If your team is playing Ultron Iron Man, they're unlikely to swap for an Iron Fist. Very unlikely. Maybe you could still play it, but in this situation, like, you might have a 3rd healer. 3 healers, Ultron, Iron Man, Ultron's one of the healers, and you'll have one tank. But if your team has two tanks, it's probably just best at this point to go with third healer. So you have Ultron and two healers. It's going to be rough if you have an Ultron and Iron Man. But if it's only an Ultron on your team, I would recommend banning an Iron Man, a Human Torch, definitely Storm. Storm is almost always a default ban anyways. One of the teams will ban Storm because the Jeff NATO is turning out to be extremely annoying for people to face, and they don't want to face it. So Storm is another strong ban. But besides Ultron, it is Hawkeye. Now, here's the thing with Hawkeye. Everyone right now is playing flyer comps. So often the enemy team is banning Hawkeye. Every team wants to ban Hawkeye. Not just because Hawkeye is freaking busted right now, but because usually everyone wants to play flyers. So if you ban Ultron, chances are the enemy team is playing some kind of flyer, and they're probably going to ban a Hela or a Hawkeye. Now, they might not, and so the second ban slot is still good for Hawkeye. So I would say your priorities is number 1, Ultron. Number 2 is going to be either Hawkeye or Hulk. And the reason why is because once you do if you do the first ban and you land an Ultron ban, chances are the enemy team has banned Storm or Hawkeye or Torch or Groot. One of these, they've banned it. So now you've narrowed down your options. Okay, Ultron's banned. You can just choose which one they haven't banned. Punisher's also a good ban. Some people ban Punisher. But let's say they ban Hawkeye. You could ban a Storm. You can ban Hulk. You can ban Punisher. These are all valid bans. Unfortunately, Adam Warlock isn't very worth it anymore. He was worth it last season sometimes if you have that extra slot. Or Hela. Hela's also a good ban, but Hawkeye takes priority. So does Storm, and probably even Punisher, just because the time to kill on a Punisher is insane. Even though Hela is extremely burdensome, Punisher is even worse in my opinion because of his new HP. It's going to make it extremely difficult for you. But that's kind of it with the bans, guys. You need to be using them very carefully. If you don't, it's just going to make things extreme. Because, like, this character is already bad. This character's already bad. He's already bad. And going into a comp that's unfavorable against him just makes it even worse. So, I'm going to try to mention in this video things I didn't mention in previous videos. I don't want to overlap too much. So, if you are binging all the guides, which I've had some people tell me they were, which is kind of nice because I'm a small channel. But if you're binging all the guides, I'm going to try to have as little repeat as possible. So, for this video, I'm focusing more on novel things for this season. And one of the biggest things I want to say that you need to do to survive is your engagement times. Your engagements. Because just overall this season you need to level up your gameplay, which if you're in a low rank and you're already struggling last season, I know it's going to make it much more difficult, but it's just how the character is now. Your engagement times need to be much shorter. You need to be diving your target, and you need to be aware of your reduced survivability, your reduced kill potential, and your reduced ability to get out, and just have this heightened sense of, I'm not going to land a kill, I'm going to get out, I'm not going to get greedy. Because when you dive the backline, maybe you need to be using, first of all, I mentioned this in previous videos, but you need to be using your jumps to always jump around the target. Now, this is if they're looking at you. If they're not and this is also if you're planning on using your kick to get out. You know, sometimes you'll be jumping the front line. I do this a lot when I'm jumping the front line. If you're jumping the front line, let's say I just had a game I played yesterday. There was a Hawkeye and there was a Widow. They were close to the front though. When I was jumping on the Widow, you know, I was jumping around to avoid the fire, and I was waiting for her to land her kick, and I went for the block. But you need to be just more mobile around the target, especially right now, because your survivability is reduced, and you want to hold on to your block as long as you can. That's the biggest thing. You want to hold on to your block as long as you can. But in general, your engagement time is going to be much shorter when you're diving the backline, especially if the enemy team does have an Ultron. When you're diving the backline, you want to be aware that if you're not going to get a kill, block, patience, and go back to the front, go behind a corner, and meditate. The biggest thing, guys, patience. It's going to be so much harder to adjust for a lot of people because your downtime is going to be very high. You have a lot of downtime. You have a lot of waiting at a wall, like you're up here, and you're waiting for them to walk through. You're waiting for your chance because you're just not that viable. You need the right opportunity. You're waiting for your chance. And then they walk through, and you can see the backline. You wait till they start engaging. Again, patience. Waiting for the engagement to start. Maybe, and this is a big thing that can help a lot of people, is you see maybe your mag on the front line shoots a shot onto their Invis woman on the right. And you see that, and you're like, oh, that target's going to be lower HP than the Loon on the left. I'm going to go in, and I'm going to go on the Invis woman. And you dive the Invis woman. Maybe she's already half health. Maybe she's even lower, and you can just jump into the execute. These are the little things you need to do to min-max your gameplay because you just need to do even more now to get value. So another thing you want to do is choosing your target to dive. You need to choose between the healers that are available. If Luna's banned, it's probably going to be a lot easier for you because Luna's a very, very difficult dive target. Like, let's say you see a Mantis and an Invis Woman. I'd go for the Invis Woman. It just makes it a little bit easier because the Invis Woman has less ability to be healed by the Mantis because it's less healing output. And also, you don't have to worry about the sleep. It's just another additional layer of avoidance you need to have, is avoiding the sleep. And an Invis Woman, she could just put her shield on the Mantis, and now you can't do anything. So target priority, you need to increase your target priority awareness. Who to target when you're diving. All these little things need to be implemented on every dive. Because again, this character now is much harder to play. Much higher skill cap is needed. So you need to just think a lot more. So if you're someone that wants more of a relaxed gameplay, this character, at least in ranked, is not for you. He's really not right now. Right now, he's not. He's just very stressful to make it work, depending on what you're facing, and your bans need to be correct. So on the topic of target priority, this kind of depends like on whether you have comms on or off, because right now it's just much more peaceful having comms off with all the hatred towards Ironfist players because it's perceived as a weak hero. Even me in top 500, I've been getting blamed despite... There was a game I played today, I had 12 finals. My mag had 2 finals. The next DPS had 11 finals. He had 17 deaths, by the way. He was getting pre-fighted every time. I had 10 deaths. And they actually blamed me. They really did. I know it's hard to believe. They do this. And if you're an Iron Fist player, you experience this firsthand pre-Season 2. When Iron Fist wasn't, you know, meta, as they say. There's a lot of hate towards Iron Fist. But on the topic of target priority, in terms of whether to dive the healer, or a DPS, whether it's flying or on the ground, it depends on where your team is shooting. You need to be, again, mid-maxing your damage. Let's say you're going to go for your dive, and normally, let's say there's a flyer right above. By the way, one more thing I want to mention is you need to watch out for flyers, because they can often snuff out your dive, and it really, like, that's one of the biggest things Ultron can do that I noticed to Iron Fist, is on some maps, not all of them, some maps, there's, like, only minimal flanking routes, and the Ultron is in a position where every time you're on the wall, he will see you guaranteed, and with his infinite range, he will just snipe you out. It's very annoying. He's like a good Hela. He's like a Hela almost in terms of his ability to snipe you down. So in terms of target priority, assuming comms are off, you want to watch and see if one of those flyers is actually being attacked. If they're full HP and they're in line of their healers, it's a terrible idea to dive them. All their healers need to do is look up, and then the flyer will just shoot you, and you'll just have to retreat. You'll pretty much gain almost no value. You really want to dive the healers almost all the time. If it's a DPS on the ground, it depends if they're taking an off angle. Like, for flyers too, you want to always watch if they're in line of the healers. If they're in line of the healers, your healers should be always your dive priority. Unless you actually see your DPS hitting one of the other DPS and you know they're low and you can go in and execute. Maybe not execute, maybe even get close. Just continue to add that pressure. Like, you're going for a dive and you have a Bucky shooting their Hawkeye here. You know, and he pings it. Even though he's in line of the healers, maybe you'll jump on it, and maybe he'll be low enough for an execute and secure that kill. If not, if he's not low, maybe you dive him and he's not low. Then you just jump straight to the healers in the back line. Or maybe there's no one hitting him and there's no ping. Then you go for the healers. You go for the healers in the back line. You hit them for a bit. Probably won't get a kill, but maybe you will. Block, and then you decide, based off the map around you, do I kick back to the front line, or do I kick to the side? That's another thing you want to decide. Now, one last thing I really want to mention, guys, is I've noticed with my gameplay a lot more is not just tracking your jumps, but using your wall running to escape more. You know, let's say I'm diving a target right here. I land the kill. I need to get out. You know, there's DPS there. I need to get out. You know, let's say I don't have my kick. Jumping to the wall like this and jumping around. You know, using your mobility more, using your ability to wall run and jump has been helping me get out from a lot of fights. I've been kind of training just to get used to not doing the flurry punches, because with the new flurry punches, you would just do this and fly around the corner and be much quicker. But now, like, you're so slow, you're easy to hit. It's easier to just go like this and then jump around the wall. Now, sometimes you're also out of jumps, and I do this fly to get around the wall. Let's say I'm like this, and let's say I'm out of jumps right now. Just fly around the wall like this while kicking. And I do this, another additional tip, is I do this many times when I'm diving a healer. Let's say the healer's far up the wall. Let's say they're all the way over there, right? And you're jumping off a wall over here, and you want to maintain your height. You know, like this, and then just kind of float over to them until you get your position, and then, like, stop and, like, go like that. just a little tip to add into your gameplay. Anyways, guys, that's it for today's video. It's, again, a little bit just quick, rough and dirty. I just wanted to get more tips out because I am traveling today to Japan, so I wanted to really get this out. Some additional tips after been playing a bit more, just to help you guys orient yourself. Maybe when I get back, I'll try to provide even more tips, but like I'm not going to be playing much this season anyways. So I did play an absolute crap ton the first few days. That way I can kind of get this to you quickly. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you do, please remember to like, subscribe, comment, and turn the bell for notifications so you can see when my next video is. And as always, guys, take care.